What's up, guys? Bob here with Run Pure Sports. I'm with my guy Simon, the Wizard of Oz at Run Pure Sports, right? You're the man behind, usually on the other side of the curtain, and we're here talking best balls at Underdog. Simon, how's it going, bud?
Good, man. Good to be on with you, and good to talk some football. Been doing a lot of these best ball drafts, so looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the NFL situation right now.
Yeah, definitely. I saw you the other day. My brother was in one. He was sitting next to me having a beer. We were poolside, and I was looking at his team and looking at yours, and I was like, wow, dude, you're getting absolutely smoked. and then I was like, that's Pumacon. That's Simon, you know? So it's I was like, wow, man, that's a really good team. And I was impressed. You might be the best ball guy at this company, in my opinion. That looked like a pretty good squad you had there.
Thanks,
But, yeah, so basically, we just got OTAs for NFL, where things are moving along. Obviously, we have the Rodgers-Watson news in Denver. How do you kind of see that playing out, and how does that affect basically your best ball strategy? Because I know it's kind of a hot topic right now.
For me, it's giving value to the Denver skill positions. Like Cortland Sutton and Jerry Judy are both going in the later single digit rounds right now, like maybe between 6 and 8 or so. And if you can scoop them up in those rounds, I think right now that's a good value because there's not a lot of downside if you end up with Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock as your quarterback. But if you end up getting a Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers traded to that team, and both those players have expressed interest in going to Denver, then there could be some huge upside for a guy like Cortland Sutton or Jerry Judy. Even Javonte Williams, he's going relatively cheap. He's going in about the 6th or 7th round right now in Underdog. And if you can scoop him up, there's a lot of talk that they might even drop Melvin Gordon before the season starts. But it's looking more likely that Melvin Gordon will stay on the team, and Javonte Williams will end up as a starter. Which either case, you know, like I think he's undervalued going where he's going right now.
Yeah, so just starting from the top, like you're basically taking the long-term view in best ball. Like as the summer progresses, people are going to start jamming these contests, whether it's Underdog or DraftKings. And right now we're trying to find that low value and then basically trying to predict out, like if you wanted to play a Rodgers and like draft Rodgers and maybe get Judy late or get Cortland Sutton late, who's kind of going a little bit at a depreciated ADP range just because Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, who's the guy? Is it Aaron Rodgers? Like if it's Aaron Rodgers, he's skyrocketing 3 rounds, maybe more than that. So that's basically how we're kind of playing best ball and hoping that it plays out. And as you build your script, you're kind of like telling the story. Same thing with DFS that everyone kind of rambles about. Let your lineup tell a story. It's pretty much the same thing with best ball. That's like kind of what we're trying to accomplish with these best ball tournaments. So players generating buzz. Laviska Shenault seems like he's the guy I hear every YouTube video for the last year, 2 years. He's everyone's darling. Eli Moore for the Jets. He's getting a ton of buzz out of camp as well. Damian Harris, my guy, New England Patriots running back. I think he's a very, very solid running back at this point. I can see them leaning on him a ton. These are guys, how are you feeling in terms of like leveraging that early buzz? How are you trying to get on these guys, and what's your approach in your drafts?
For me, the good thing with Viska, he's one of my favorite wide receivers to draft. I've trying to make sure I draft him in as many teams as I can. I have probably about 40% exposure right now. I've done about 100 of the Underdog drafts. I've done way too many Underdog drafts. I should be cutting back until we get closer to the training camp or midway through training camp, just so I don't end up burning myself. Because if you draft this early in the game, you could end up drafting a ton of a player that ends up, you know, getting hurt, or he ends up, you know, like not having the role that you expect. Like once we get closer to training camp, you get that news starting to flood in on you know, like where guys are going to fall on the roster and everything. But with Laviska, he's one of my favorite guys to target right now. He's been lighting it up in training camp. I really liked him last year, and I thought he came on pretty good on his rookie season. And I think that's going a little bit like surprisingly overlooked with all the buzz that's going around him, because he's going in like the 8th or 9th round right now. You can get him at I think his ADP is like 85 to 90 somewhere. So you can get him at a really good value. I think he's going to have a bigger season than DJ Chark. I think Chark, like he kind of had a rough rookie season, and then he came on his second season. He had that big year, but then his third season, he didn't really do too much. And I think with Laviska, he's just an all-around better player, and I think it'll be an opportunity for him to shine with a new quarterback and a new coaching staff in Jacksonville.
It's funny you say that. So that's been kind of a spot for me, and I kind of been taking the other route where I'm going DJ Chark a little bit more. I just feel like he's been the number one. Like, what's to change that? Obviously, Urban Meyer could come in and totally screw this whole thing up, but he also could do well, and he sees like this big, tall, wide receiver on the outside. Like, it seems to me like Chark would be the guy, right? Like, so like where everyone's kind of going Laviska, I keep seeing everyone touting Laviska. I just keep taking Chark. But I think you touched on something that was pretty important, basically talking about how you've played a lot of these best balls now, and like just like DFS, best ball pretty much dynamic to where, like DFS slates, where things are ever changing and you kind of have to adjust. If you do things too early, you can pigeonhole yourself. So I think that was a really good point you made, leading into that whole Laviska, Chenault, DJ Chark argument.
Yeah, like it's one of those situations with best ball is when you do a draft, it's very addictive. Like, you want to do another one like right when you get done, right? Because if you get a team that you're happy with, you're like, oh, like I have a soft competition that I'm drafting against. I want to jump in another draft right now and see if I can get like that same situation. Or if you draft a shitty team, then it's the opposite. You're like, oh, I can't stop now. I got to get a better team. So it gets really really addictive. But you just got to kind of control yourself as far as jumping into those drafts and make sure that you're being conscious that like you don't want to blow your whole load before the training camp starts. So you want to definitely spread those out a little bit. Make sure that you have a good amount of teams left to draft before this training camp
things
starts.
Kind of
obviously
finalized towards the end.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't know if you remember last year with DraftKings, they had their $1 million tournament or their big tournament, and they were having a lot of overlay when you got closer to the season starting. And at some point, like a few weeks before the season started, they handed out a bunch of free tickets to all the other players. So all the other DFS players. So you had this flood of people who hadn't drafted all summer, like suddenly, entering their free tickets and just, going with no research and going with no previous drafts. So the competition was really soft. But if you had used up all your 150 lineups before that point, you couldn't really take advantage of that. So that's a thing that sucked about last year. I was in that situation where I drafted all my teams before it ever got to that point. So when all that soft competition was coming into those drafts, I wasn't able to do any more drafts at that point. So you got to be conscious of spreading those out a bit.
That's when you get on the Life's account. I can't be saying that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Like, it's all about contest selection on the other side of that too. Like, there was overlay, and obviously they became soft because it was a novelty product, and yeah, you want to have those bullets to hit that overlay. Like, that's the same situation as it would be with DFS. Improved O lines for Chiefs, Chargers, Wentz, Reich. Just a couple talking points you talked about. Can you kind of go into the O lines for the Chiefs and Chargers and what's kind of going on in that situation?
Yeah, the Chiefs spent a lot of money this offseason on their O-line. They didn't want to go into another Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes banged up. And so they went out and they grabbed a bunch of studs for their offensive line. So they're going to be in really good shape, like as far as their running game and like time for Patrick Mahomes to throw the ball. So I really like the Chiefs offense, like even more than normal this year. I think Edwards-Hilaire might be a little bit underrated, just because he's going to have a lot more running lanes this season, and I think that him going late in the second, early in the third is a pretty good value this year. There's a lot of narrative talking about how he disappointed last year, and he's people almost coming pretty close to calling him a bust. And I think when you can kind of take advantage of those negative narratives and just knowing things like the offensive line is stronger this year, they put a lot of effort into making sure that Patrick Mahomes is going to be protected, and like that in general should just benefit all the skill position players on the Chiefs offense.
Yeah, so I think that's very interesting. So I've listened to a couple people just talking about best balls, and people kind of seem to be down on the Chiefs offense, which Chiefs are going to score the most points in the league. Like, if you're playing best ball, you want to be stacking the Chiefs as much as you possibly can, in my opinion, just because what the output is for that offense. And also you have Sammy Watkins moving. McCole Hardman's another year older within that offense. Byron Pringle, another guy. Demarcus Robinson. They all have roles that when you get down later in these drafts, people aren't really targeting these Chiefs guys. And if you have Mahomes, those are options that you can go to. I love the idea of the Chiefs kind of getting bigger on the offensive line, especially for Hilaire, who's more of an undersized back. You get him in space more. I don't think Hilaire's a bust at all. And I think it's going to be a really good spot, and to be on the Chiefs is never a bad thing.
Yeah, one thing too, like on the Edwards-Hilaire situation, they also brought in Jerick McKinnon from the 49ers, and McKinnon is going super late. Like, you can get him in the 17th, 18th round, basically the last rounds of your draft. So he's a guy that you don't want to overlook either.
I've drafted him on nearly every 50% of my team, 50 to 60% of my teams. I'm getting McKinnon exposure.
Yeah, for sure.
You said Chargers as well. They drafted a left tackle apparently.
Drafted probably the second linesman that you could get in Slater.
Basically how Kamara is going to be used. I don't know. You can pretty much flip-flop, not flippable, but I feel like they'll go closer in terms of ADP.
Yeah.
By season's end, just because of Taysom and kind of how Kamara struggled. Kamara was my guy last year, and then Drew Brees went down and kind of hurt Week 13 playoff week for best ball.
Yeah.
So that was the Chargers, and then we have Big T's guy, Carson Wentz. He gets Frank Reich back in the fold in Indianapolis. Big T probably not watching this, not a big best ball guy, but it is what it is. We can hit on Wentz, hit on Reich. What are your thoughts there in terms of Indy and their QB coach situation?
I'm an Eagles fan, so I remember the days when Wentz and Reich were together, and they were good days. And Wentz had his almost
good days
MVP
for you,
season.
Bad days for me.
Yeah. Wentz had that MVP caliber season with Reich, and that's when they ended up winning the Super Bowl. Wentz got hurt, obviously, before the season ended, so he never won the MVP. But he was a favorite to get it. And ever since Reich left and Wentz had that injury, Wentz was never the same. So having those guys reunited is definitely a good thing for Wentz, and it gives him an opportunity to kind of resurrect his career. It'll be interesting to see if it was a Reich effect that was lifting Wentz, or maybe he had some psychological issues after he got hurt. Maybe that were affecting his play after that
Doug
season.
Peterson effect.
Yeah, Doug Peterson too. Yeah, exactly. So Doug Peterson, we were talking before the show, he was a little bit overrated, obviously. After Reich left, the Eagles never really did too much. They made it to, I think they made it to the playoffs the next season, but beyond that they didn't really do too much. So Reich has shown in Indy that he can take a depleted roster and make something out of it. So I think reunited him and Wentz is a good thing, and I think it's a good thing too for the Colts tight ends. I think on the depth chart right now it's Jack Doyle is the starting tight end, but Mo Alley Cox is the more athletic tight end, and I think he could benefit pretty good from having Wentz on that team now.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, especially if Wentz is so comfortable within that two tight end offense with Goddard and Hurts, and now you're coming over to Indy, and hopefully it's not Russian roulette with these Indy tight ends this year, that I will say for DFS. Yeah. So your process in best ball, like how are you approaching these drafts? What's your kind of strategy and how do you approach it?
I'm hoping that I'm getting in the back third of the draft. I like drafting from the 8 to 12 position.
Me too.
Yeah. Because I feel like when you draft more towards the middle of a draft, value kind of falls in your lap, right? Like if you're drafting at like the front two positions or the back two positions, then it feels like you're always getting sniped. Like all the value is getting like soaked up before it gets to you. But if you're in the middle rounds and you're not drafting back to back every time, and your drafts your picks are a little bit more spread out, I feel like a lot more value is going to fall to you when that's happening. You might not be able to necessarily get the stacks that you want as easily, like especially for the players that ADP on the same team are pretty close together. But overall, I think you can draft a stronger team drafting from those middle spots. But another thing that I like about drafting in the back third is, we were talking before the show. We both like drafting the wide receivers at the top of a draft. I'm a big fan of just loading up on stud wide receivers at the beginning of these drafts. There was a lot of talk about anti-fragile lineups, because I guess that was the lineup that won last season, where people were just loading, the winner just loaded up on those stud running backs at the beginning of the draft, and kind of put wide receiver off until maybe round 5 or something like that. I like taking the opposite approach this year, just because everybody seems to be drafting all the running backs that they can in the early rounds, and that's leaving a lot of those stud wide receivers up for grabs. So I really like taking that approach. I also like more of a hero RB approach, which is where you grab a stud running back in maybe like round 1 or 2, 3 if it falls to you, and then just not drafting another running back until you have like 4 or 5 wide receivers, or like maybe 4 wide receivers and a good quarterback on your team, and then hitting your second running back in those like mid single digit rounds. Like you can get guys like Damian Harris and Javonte Williams or Travis Etienne and what's his face, Myles Gaskin. Those are all guys that I like to draft as an RB2 or sometimes an RB1, depending on how the draft goes. You just got to kind of let it play out and then take it from there.
Yeah, I'm of the same approach. Like high volume wide receivers. This I feel like wide receiver is just so strong, especially this season for best ball. Extremely deep. And like you, 8 to 12 is where I want to pick. I started playing season long, like I was like in the 5th grade, and I could never get the number 1 pick, and I always wanted it. But it benefited me because I learned how to find the value. And I think that's like one of the most important things for DFS, for best ball. Jonas Gray, a little bit of value back there behind me.
Is that when you won the Millie?
That was the Mill, yeah. But that was basically my approach. I went stud wide receivers. I had AJ Green, Brandon Marshall, Jordy, Cobb, and then I was digging in who's the value running back here? Like, where can I find value? There was Jonas. So that was it all kind of led up to that situation. Weird how that kind of happens. But yeah, I'm 0 RB guy to the max. Like, I want to get as many of these stud wide receivers in as possible as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much how my approach to best ball also. So let's get into this underdog draft
All right. Now. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to a screen share here. We're drafting on Underdog. We're going to enter into this Best Ball Mania 2 draft. I haven't done it on a desktop before, so hopefully I don't fuck anything up here.
Yeah, it's going to be like I try. So like one time last year I had to do it on the desktop, and it was just it was bad.
Yeah.
Your first time on there is going to be, you're going to have to navigate it.
Yeah. Yeah, we got, looks like we got 3 in already, so we're waiting on about 9 other people.
It could be an hour and a half.
Yeah. So while we're waiting for those guys, though, like going back to, talking about San Diego and their improved offense, like I really love Austin Eckler, man. I'm taking him a lot, in the back end of the first or second. If I'm getting like 11 or 12 for my draft position, I'm taking Eckler a lot lately. Just because before I was trying to, in the beginning of this, you were able to get like Tyreek and Stefon Diggs, for your first 2 wide receivers. But now people have kind of caught on to the value in the wide receivers there, and they're starting to scoop those guys up. I've seen Stefon Diggs going more and more in round 1 lately. Where he was before very easy to grab. It's becoming more difficult. So sometimes I'm forced to take that running back. And if I take a running back, I want to take a guy that I think I can scoop up in those like later picks. That's going to be a top 5 value. When all's said and done in the season. And I think Austin Eckler is one of those dudes that could rival guys like Christian McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook by the time the season's over. It kind of reminds me, I think it was either last year or the year before when Dalvin Cook was going in the middle of the second round, or even like 2 years before that when Christian McCaffrey, you could grab him in the middle of the second round. Right now, I think Austin Eckler's that guy that you can get later than the outside of the top 10 running backs that is going to give you that top 3 to top 5 value by the end of the season.
These are the takes I'm here for, these Austin Eckler takes, these value plays that, well, obviously we know that Austin Eckler is not a value, but relative to his ADP, if you see him top 5ing in terms of like overall position, he's a value, and that's something that I didn't know prior to hopping on this show with you. I didn't know Lombardi had moved over there. I didn't know that they had the offensive line help. So that's all good for basically getting into this, which I'm going to be doing, ramping it up here in the next couple of weeks. But, I definitely can see Eckler coming into this, like, Kamara range, top 5ing. Like you said, even, like, in the McCaffrey range. Like, there's obviously a lot of value to kind of taking a shot on a guy like Eckler and like his skill set, especially in best ball, and he just fits the DK format.
For sure, especially with an offense like the Chargers, who are going to be in scoring position a lot, and they're just overall the Chargers this year, I think, are going to be a team that is pretty explosive. So I think the stars are kind of aligned for a guy like Eckler to just have like a monster season.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the whole offense. Herbert, I think he's going to be a stud. Wish the Pats had traded up for him 2 years ago at 5. He's an absolute beast. Mike Williams, I think when you take Hunter Henry out of there, he's basically going to be someone who's going to see more. He's more of an end zone guy. He has the red zone equity. That's going to be increased, but I also think he's going to see more of a market share to where he's more viable in DFS and best ball.
Right.
And obviously Keenan. Keenan is just the guy's a savant over the middle. He can do anything to get open. Donald Parham, XFL stud, like
Yeah.
he was the chalk for last week. 1 week busted. Remember that pretty well. But yeah, he seems like he could have a bright future as well. So I'm bullish on the Chargers also.
I did hear a blurb recently. I saw like it tweeted out that they might use Mike Williams in that Michael Thomas role. So yeah, so that's pretty interesting. That gets me. I hadn't been drafting a lot of
midnight if I have Mike Williams exposure, which I did.
Yeah,
I have a little Mike Williams.
Yeah, because especially
of him.
Especially if you were expecting Keenan Allen to kind of be used like that, like to hear Mike Williams might be used like that gives him a huge value if he's going, close to the 10th round right now. So he's a guy that we can keep an eye out in this draft.
I feel like I've listened to a lot of people and they're just basically, I feel like they're lowballing like Herbert. Like Herbert has rushing equity. Like we're building. Yeah. Like our QBs, we want them to have rushing equity. It's the same thing as a cash game in DFS. You're pretty much playing a 12-man up until week 3. Playing a 12-man a lot of the way through. So all the way through. So basically, like you want to have those high floor lineups even in weeks when it's kind of like a weird like dynamic because we're saying, all right, go really heavy in one situation, and then have a high variance lineup, but then also be able to have a high floor at the same time, which is why I prefer high volume wide receivers in best ball as opposed to like cash games in DFS where you're basically trying to pile in as much running back usage as possible.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much my thought process. Like when I'm drafting my teams, kind of lost my train of thought, but we're talking about Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. So yeah, I'm a big Keenan Allen. I'm a big Chargers guy. I would not be low on the Chargers this
year. Now, which teams are you looking for as like a sneaky stack? Are there any sneaky stacks that you're looking to draft in those backgrounds or?
Yeah, so I was coming to a situation where I was kind of going wide receiver heavy, and I was just pounding like as many high usage wide receivers that I could possibly get in the lineup, and then I'd come to a situation where I'm at Trevor Lawrence, and I have DJ Chark or Laviska, and I know everyone's taking Laviska, and I've been drafting Chark, and I know Trevor Lawrence has rushing equity. He's someone, but if I don't get Chark, I have been playing the situation where if Deshaun Watson does stay in Houston, like they're going to be playing from behind. He's not being drafted. If I'm not getting the stacks that I really want, I don't mind taking Lawrence, taking Taysom because I know I need that floor and the rushing equity from the QB. And then also getting Deshaun Watson and stacking him with Kute or Nico Collins or Randall Cobb in that sense because I know that they're playing from behind. But obviously, we're kind of tentative on what that situation is with the Texans, but just because the game scripts for them are going to be so positive for the passing game. Like I don't mind taking him and taking one of those guys that ends up chalk occasionally in DFS because of the situation.
Yeah, I do have a decent amount of Kute and Nico Collins. Just because I like that situation, the ambiguous type of wide receiver situation where
who's the guy?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like those are the best ones that you could draft those like late round wide receiver, like rookie wide receivers and end up, like finding a hidden gem because if it's Tyrod, like that ends up as the QB, he's going to look for a big bodied receiver, historically to target. And that's, where you find a guy like Nico Collins could benefit from that.
In best ball, like those are the situations and just situations that are kind of opaque in terms of like what they're going to play out to be, I guess, or I don't know if that's the correct verbiage, but whatever. You just don't, even in DFS, like if you have a lean into a situation and how it's going to go, taking that chance, that's kind of, and hitting a ceiling outcome is pretty much what gets you the payday. So.
Yeah, for sure. And there was a couple years ago, like that year that Chark broke out, like for whatever reason, I just kind of gravitated to him. And I was loading up on that dude like in the 18th round of like every draft. And I ended up like probably having like 25-30% like Chark that year. And for, like it was just completely random guy that I just I gravitated towards, and he ended up breaking out that season. So that was like a huge year for me in best ball, because I had a ton of Lamar Jackson in the 10th round. I was drafting a ton of DJ Shark in those later rounds, and then I was also like drafting guys like Dalvin Cook in the mid-second round. All those dudes ended up breaking out, and then when we got to the playoffs, right? The first week of playoffs, I had like 30 teams like in those playoffs, and I thought like I was gold, right? That week, that first week of playoffs, all those players shit the bed, right? Not a single one of them like ended up having a good week, and all my teams like just got like obliterated. Like I was done, right? Like, so I went from thinking that I had the nuts like in my like my round 2 of playoffs, as far as like like my teams that went through, and like just all these studs on those teams, and I ended up getting like 2 teams through to the next round, and those 2 teams got through because I had Rashard Penny on them. and he, that was the week that he ended up getting like 2 touchdowns or something like that. But it's crazy. You can think that you have like the nuts as far as your teams and your situation, that you're positioned very well to go really far in the playoffs, and then all it takes is that one shitty week, and then just all your teams are just wiped out.
Yeah, that was me last year. I had Kamara. I was sitting pretty. I had Justin Jefferson. That situation kind of with Stephon Diggs moving over. That was another one. Like, obviously Justin Jefferson was good. People knew he was going to be good, but he definitely paid off if you drafted him. And then Drew Brees goes down come like week 11 or week 12, and you're sitting, you're like, oh, there goes my best ball team, my 1% best ball team. It's totally out the window. So yeah, it's shit. It's an ever-changing board. That's why you have to tell that story, and hopefully, like you said, you hit the nuts and everything kind of goes your way.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like when you take stands on guys in best ball and it ends up working out, like it's huge for you. But it could easily go the other way. Like last year, I did something similar where I was drafting a ton of players before, like we were really too far into training camp, and a lot of them ended up getting hurt. And I was rolling into the season with like each of my teams like had like probably 2 or 3 spots per team that were just like done, like just guys hurt or whatever. So it can work both ways with getting that big exposure to guys, but I prefer to take stands on guys and draft the shit out of them, as opposed to spreading it out. Like I'd rather have a big clump of teams potentially advance to the second round than have just have like 10% like everybody else, or whatever the average is. I think it's like 8%.
Yeah, you want to be over the. You want to be, if you have like some sort of idea that a guy's going to work out a certain way, you want to be over the field, whatever, in regards to your exposure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we're getting close here. We got like 2 more to get in this draft.
I kind of want to get in this draft. Drop the link in Discord.
Let's see.
Some people will jump in.
Let's see if we can get some. Let's see. Is there I don't think we have a actual best ball channel. I'll just put it in the NFL, see if anybody's doing anything in there right now. Yeah, there hasn't been a ton of activity in our Discord for NFL. We haven't really
really pushed it yet.
Pushed it too hard yet, yeah. But we're starting to get our content out there. You can actually subscribe now using the promo code RPSHeater25, and you'll get 25% off your first month.
Oh, really? 25% off first month, RPS Heater 25. Guys, you heard that. 2 more spots. Let's go.
Yeah, you jump in now. You don't want to, to miss out on the heater that Big T's and JSU are going on right now with these showdowns. It's been crazy. Like, literally every night, those guys are having their little revelations in the live Up to Lock show, where they basically call the winning team to our audience, and we're getting like tons of screenshots of guys winning $25K like for each of these showdown slates. So it's been pretty crazy.
Yeah, the showdown's just been, I don't know. I can't even put into words what Big T's been doing since. Well, since like maybe the end of NBA, like January to now.
Yeah. It's over 2 million.
Yeah, it's over 2. It's definitely over 2, especially with the golf. Yeah. And it's interesting because I think a lot of it like stems from the two of them, obviously very sharp tournament players.
Yeah.
They're talking all day, they're in each other's ear, and then they're doing the show, and you have two minds like that coming together. We're seeing kind of what plays out.
Yeah.
So make sure you jump on that promo code RPS Heater 25.
Yeah, the Discord is a huge thing that we offer. We have a lot of apart from our own coordinators, we have a ton of some of the best DFS players around that are just in that Discord sharing ideas and helping each other out. People are staking each other all the time in the Discord, and just a lot of good mojo, as they say.
Yeah, definitely a lot of good mojo, and there's a lot of very, very sharp guys outside of just the coordinators in that Discord. There are a lot of sharp DFS players. Yeah. Sharp guys that just basically understand like this game. So, and you'll see their usernames around the industry as well.
Yeah, for sure. We got one more to join, and then we can start this up. One thing that you're going to want to do before you do any of these drafts is make sure that you have your personal rankings set, because you don't want to go off of general ADP. You want to have your own favorite players lined up to be drafted.
I just totally throw the ADP out the window. I look at it, but I have no.
I'll use it as a guideline. If I see that I have a player that I really want, and he might be. It might be like 10 spots before ADP, but I know like I'm not going to draft again for 20 spots. Like then I'll take him. I don't mind reaching for guys if I know that he's not going to make it back to me. But if there's a guy that I know I want, but he's 20 spots ahead of where I'm drafting, and there's going to be about like 24 spots until I draft again. Like I'll take my chances and not draft him and hope that he comes back to me, like something like that, But generally, ADP for me is just a guideline and just kind of helps me try to figure out, what my situation is like on when I need to draft this, like certain players or whatever.
Yeah, I think that is, and a lot of people are kind of just using like ETR ADP. Not that it's not great, it's fantastic, but it's just so many people using the same just ADP, and it just becomes very congested, and it's just like, why don't I zig when everyone else zags? If you have your own kind of convictions, that's where it can work in your favor.
Right. And I think, to that point, that's where you want to make sure that if you are using somebody's rankings, that you're going in and personalizing them so that you're not drafting in the same order that they have everything lined up. If you like guys that are falling later in later in their rankings than you want them to, and you're finding that you're not drafting the players that you want, then you got to switch it up. All right, so we're at number 6, so that's right in the middle where I like to be. We're probably in Travis Kelce territory. He's the only tight end that I'll take like in the first 2 rounds. I don't really like. I'm taking a stand against Waller. What's your thinking on a guy like Waller?
I like Waller, but I'm not taking him in the first round. You're taking a Chiefs piece in that situation. Like for me, it's either Kelce or Tyreek.
Yeah.
There's even like obviously people there are going to be Saquon, Kamara. They're guys that could fall to Zeke. I'm not taking. Jonathan Taylor, he's another guy you can consider. I could see him having a bigger year. I prefer Eckler, but I don't think we're going to be taking Eckler in this situation right now.
No.
Like that's where we're hoping we're getting Eckler later in the season as the best balls kind of fill up, as we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I'm hoping, like, if I'm drafting Eckler in the 6th spot, I'm hoping to get him in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
If he falls back to me in the 2nd round, then that's a huge value.
You're going Kelce or Tyreek?
Got to see. I still haven't made up my mind. See, someone just took Eckler.
Someone just took Eckler 1-4, and like that's where that paid. So people are already on it.
Yeah.
That's the play. Like I'm ready to kind of go and do that when I get off here.
I just don't like any of those early running backs. I'm not sold on Kamara. I don't like the offense this year. I'm not sold on. I like Barkley. I like that Barkley is falling, but like, see in this situation now, like so like, it's not going as I would have planned it to. Like I still like Barkley. But I really want to go Kelce or Hill, and mainly Hill, because I haven't drafted much Hill recently. So I'm gonna make sure that I have him queued up.
I like Tyreek. Let's go Tyreek.
Yeah, let's go with Tyreek. All right. So when it comes back around to me, like if we get lucky, then a guy like Diggs will fall, but generally I'm gonna look to take a guy like Hopkins and hope that he falls to me in the 2nd round.
Yeah, I'm big. I'm jamming wideouts, man.
Yeah,
high usage wideouts. I'm jamming. D-Hop, Diggs. This guy, Barkley, Taylor.
I doubt Diggs falls to me, but if he does, I will gladly take Diggs. Kelce, like I never really see him going this late either, to be honest. So I think we might have a little bit of a one of those drafts that's going to end up interesting for us. It seems like people are kind of going off the board as far as like their picks so far, so. We'll see how this one plays out.
Travis Kelce just went 112.
Yeah, 112.
2-1.
So we know that he's going to be looking for Mahomes in the 3rd round.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And we got Tyreek, so maybe we'll snipe him. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'll take Mahomes. If he falls in the 4th or 5th round, then I'll scoop him up. But I don't have a lot of Mahomes.
Well, he's not falling in the 4th or 5th round. That's the thing when I watch these. It's like so many people are like, oh, I don't want to take a QB early because you're supposed to take him past 7 or 10. Like, there's no guidelines to this. Like, if you feel like you want to get Mahomes at 3, like, it's not fish. Go out and get Mahomes. Like, you need to play what you want. This guy's obviously going to try to take him if he can.
Right.
I don't know.
There goes Hopkins. Shit. All right, so
What else can we do at wideout?
In this situation, I'll probably go Adams. Honestly, like what do you think?
I would go Adams if I knew Rodgers was throwing him the ball. I would have took Adams. That's the situation. Is like, where's your lean there?
Yeah.
For me, I might go Metcalf. Yeah, Metcalf.
Yeah. I was thinking Adams, and then like it's just one of those. It's one of those situations.
I want Adams. I wish I could
exactly. Yeah, we would want Rodgers to end up sticking around, and I don't like taking Metcalf that soon. I prefer Metcalf at the end of the second round or the top of the third round. But for what we're talking about, like going wide receiver heavy in the beginning of this draft, I think that's just the best move that we can do right now.
I'm with you. I think Adams is the play. I mean, I think Metcalf is the play. I just had a draft and did the exact same thing.
Cool. I like McLaurin as my next. I like
receiver. McLaurin as well. We're on the same path. McLaurin is my guy, if not Keenan Allen.
Yeah. Yep, Keenan Allen too. We want that Chargers offense.
Yeah, definitely have exposure to the Chargers. Aaron Jones, just like 211. I get it, but like, why? You know what I mean? Like, you might as well just burn your money.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson. I love Justin Jefferson. I still think I'd prefer McLaurin or Keenan Allen just because of the market share.
Same here. Yeah. If this was like the back end of the second round, and I was drafting there, and Jefferson was the next off the line, I would go Jefferson though. Like, and then grab McLaurin in the third, or like Allen in the third, one of those guys. I just kind of like kind of feel it out too. If McLaurin goes, I'm CeeDee Lamb is my next.
What about Kittle?
I've been kind of I haven't been going tight end in the first couple rounds. Like the earliest that I'm taking a tight end this year is Kyle Pitts, and that's if he later in the fourth round, but not I don't like drafting him early in the fourth.
Yeah, my wonder with Kittle would be like, obviously it'd probably be more if you're deeper into your teams, like taking. Oh, there goes we took McLaurin. We got our man.
We got McLaurin. So CeeDee Lamb's the next guy that I like. I think Amari Cooper will fall to us. Like he's been going later and later for some reason.
Yeah. So my thought with just like drafting Kittle a little higher was that you're getting Trey Lance late, and if he does end up being the starter and he plays well, then you have a nice little stack there where you might as well, with upside, I guess, and not many people are going to be. Well, it's differentiated, I guess. CeeDee Lamb just went.
If our boy at the 12th spot doesn't take Patrick Mahomes, he's one to consider since we got Tyreek. Now the fourth round is the earliest that I would take Patrick Mahomes, and I did that in the draft that I did the other day, and that actually ended up working out really well. It was kind of like another one of these types of drafts where things are just happening like kind of weird. Yeah. Okay, so he's gone, so we don't have to worry about that.
Cooper, what other wideouts do we have?
Let's see. Next one on my list would be Jamar Chase. Like, what are your thoughts on Mike Evans this year?
I like Evans, obviously big play guy. I like Cooper Kupp for just PPR formats. What's the rules for PPR on the
It's half point. Yeah.
It's half, so I'm not interested. On DK, I'd probably be looking for Kupp because I am bullish on the Rams passing attack. Jamar Chase I think is fine. Jamar Chase will do. I like Evans though. That's the thing, is they're just so spread out. That's their offenses. It can be anyone,
Yeah. So we're at pick 37, 38 right now, I believe.
I like Deontay. Oh well, he's not. You're not that. You're going. That's going to be a little bit later, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's also half point PPRs. I
I've
don't
been
like Deontay.
I've been fading the Steelers this year just because I'm not really liking like their offensive situation. I think they just got rid of like their one of their big O linesmen, and that's going to really hurt the Najee Harris.
Yeah, so that's the thing is like I feel like a lot of people are bullish on Najee, but their running game is their passing game, right? Like
Yeah.
that's pretty much how they're built. So, and if you're taking no lineman out, it seems like that's just going to continue more.
What do you think of Kyle Pitts in this spot?
I like Pitts. I think Pitts.
Okay,
I was
same
just
here.
thinking that.
Yeah, I think they're going to use him basically as a wide receiver. He's not going to be a traditional tight end. So
No.
yeah, so I like grabbing him. If Pitts is off the board, we might grab Lockett. No, we got Pitts. If Lockett makes it back to us, we might want to grab Lockett just since we have Metcalf and go for that. Go for the Seattle stack. But I also don't mind if he gets taken. Like this is where I'll start to look. Well, if T Higgins, okay, T Higgins is my next guy that I'm looking for, right? If he's gone, and we just saw Lockett go, then I'll look at Myles Gaskin or Travis Etienne as my first running back typically. Josh Allen is still on the board. We not really interested in him because I don't want to stack him with anyone other than Diggs. Personally, like how are you playing Allen if you land into a situation where you're in the 5th round and he's still on the board?
I like Allen. I think he's like him and Murray are just guys with rushing equity. I think that give you basically just they're what you want at the top of your teams, right? You can run these guys naked, but we're not trying to play that way in best ball. But I also think like people like overstack occasionally, even though you should be stacking on every one of your teams. But just for the high floor, like I don't mind if you're stuck in a situation where you want that rushing equity and you want those points, which we need points to win. Like I don't mind taking these guys with rushing equity.
I think if I'm going for a guy that I want to run naked, I'm going for Lamar Jackson. Like out of those running quarterbacks, Murray. If I have Hopkins, like I'd pull the trigger on Murray here. Oh, then we just lost Higgins.
I wouldn't be stacking Lamar with literally anyone. Like there's no. Like you can't double stack Lamar, right? Like his yardage prop is like 180 yards, so he can't. Two of his guys can't even see the bonus most weeks, right? So
right. I'm thinking at this point, just going with like a Gaskin or ETN. Do you have a lean there?
I like Travis, but what I've been doing is I've been taking like another receiver in the spot, and then just taking Robinson. Let Robinson later in the draft.
What do you think of Allen? Should we just suck it up and go with Allen, and then stack him with Cole Beasley and guys like that?
Yeah, you could do that. I like Allen at the top of my teams always.
Okay, all right, let's grab him. So we just grabbed him at pick 54. His ADP is 51, so there's a little value there. DK Metcalf. We reached a little bit for him. Kyle Pitts, we got him right around ADP. So right now we're basically kind of in line with ADP as far as our value. I think this is the round that I think that I definitely would want to grab at least my first running back. So I don't like going like too deep without it because you can get yourself into trouble.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for an RB2.
Yeah.
What running backs do we have on the board?
I'm looking at Gaskin, ETN, Chase Edmonds, Javonte Williams. I really like Javonte, but I think we can, we can wait and see if these other dudes get off the board first, and make Javonte our main running back.
You like Javonte, really? So I don't know too much about him.
Yeah.
We could have stacked Kyler and Chase, the like little game, like a little QB running back stack. Yeah, I don't know. For me, like I'd go Javonte Williams as well. I get it.
If Gaskin goes off the board, then I might just.
How
grab
bullish are you on Gaskin?
I like him. Like he had some like some statistics last season where like if you'd spread it out like across an entire season, I think he missed how many games? Like he missed like 4 or 5 games maybe last year.
Yeah.
But like if he'd have played a whole season, I think we'd be looking at him as a much higher ADP this year. But I do like that offense. I like Miami. They brought in a lot of weapons. They're going to be in scoring position a lot. Hopefully, if Tua can find his way in that offense. But I think
Tua can find his way.
Yeah, because like last year, basically the offense was set up for Fitzpatrick. They had Chan Gailey as the OC.
Yeah,
and he's got a history with Fitzpatrick. So when Tua came in, I think he was like walking into a situation where the offense was designed for a different quarterback. So I think this year, like he's going to have, like a better situation. Here we go, Gaskin.
Gaskin, that's where you're going to.
Yeah, I think Gaskin be my QB, my first RB. I just want to make sure that I'm grabbing a guy that can be decent.
What are your thoughts on Chase? Just wondering.
I like him. Like I like him for sure. I've been drafting a decent amount of them. I'm not buying that
James Conner. Yeah,
James Conner.
James Conner is absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, he's awful.
He was the guy. Easily.
Yeah. If he was in the Steelers' offense last year, where they basically cater it to wide receivers every year, and he couldn't do anything there. Like, what's he gonna do in this offense? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't.
I don't like Conner. I'm so off Conner. I was never really on board.
Yeah.
What else we got going on here? Where's Damian Harris? What's his situation? Has he been drafted?
He has not been drafted yet, but we still got like a couple rounds before we need to worry about him, I think. Like right now, Jerry Judy is and Deebo Samuel and Devontae Smith. I like all those guys, and then we're coming up on Visca. But I am looking at, like, right now is where I would typically draft a guy like Deebo or Jerry Judy.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I don't have a ton of Smith, but he could potentially be the alpha in Philly's offense, the alpha receiver. But I have a feeling, like, I've been drafting more Jalen Reagor, because I think that you can get him obviously much later. You can get him in the 13th round. He got off to a start last season where he just like was behind the 8 ball because he got hurt. He hurt his shoulder going into the season, so he was hurt right off the bat. And then when he started playing, he tore a ligament in his thumb. And he had that going against him. Then he had Carson Wentz in the shitty like offensive line. What do you think of Jerry Judy? You good with that?
Yeah, I'm good with Judy.
Cool. Let's grab him. So just overall, he was just he was just set up poorly to have a successful season. But I think this year, now that he's familiar with the offense and he's got. Let me just check my bye week situation. Okay, so we got
Reagor's going to be playing the slot, right? And it'll be.
I don't know necessarily that he's going to
Rookie
play
on the outside and him outside Rager. I think Rager's playing the slot.
Is he?
I think Fulgham's going to play the 2, and the Devontae Smith will be the 1.
Gotcha. I think on this next pick we can start looking at a guy like Harris. Well, I think Harris just went. Yeah, Harris just went. So this is where I'm looking for Laviska to grab him, and then maybe on the next round we start looking at our second running back. This is much harder to do on desktop because I can't tell.
It's so much harder.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking. I was like, you're going to be like, when you do this, you're going to be like, holy shit.
Because when it's going like you getting like those 30 seconds in between picks.
Definitely going to be.
I can't check. Like I don't know how to check to see where I'm at. Like what pick just got picked and all that type of stuff. Where am I at with freaking ADP? Am I drafting him way too soon or whatever? Like this sucks, man. I hate doing it on desktop.
No, that's the thing is like we're being filmed too, so it's like am I drafting too soon? Am I going to be like people are going to be like you took that guy? Like
we're gonna have
get
everybody
so nuts over like best ball and like ADP, and if you take a guy too early or not, like
everybody's going to be making fun of us.
I try to get myself as uncomfortable as possible when I build these. I want to do the wrong thing, not necessarily the wrong thing, but who's to say what the right thing is, right? Like if the more uncomfortable you are, I feel like that's how you land on builds that help you win GPPs. And this is a big GPP.
So I'm looking at Mostert here because I want to get a starting running back for my number 2. There's a lot of talk about Trey Sherman, like he's the rookie, like like people think he's gonna take over his starting role, but right now, like the beat writers seem to think it's Mostert's job to lose, and he's not gonna lose it unless he gets like hurt or something like that.
And it could be Wilson by the end of the season. But no, I get that 100%. Everyone, Trey Sermon's another best ball darling right now.
Yeah. Yep. Now, I drafted Sherman in my last draft just because he fell to me like in the 8th round, right? He fell to me like 20 spots later than where he's normally drafted. And when I see that, I'm like, okay, I want to have a little bit of exposure to Sherman, so I'll take him there. Like even though Mostert was still on the board, but normally I'd wait till Sherman comes off the board and then go with Mostert.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like that's the correct approach.
Let's see. All right, so we're approaching the 8th. We didn't grab. Okay, so this is where I want to start pounding wide receiver again. I want to make sure that once you get past the 10th, 11th round, like the wide receivers really thin out. So I want to make sure that we're not slipping on that.
Can we get a peek at the full roster?
Yeah, you see it on the side here?
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah. So we got Josh Allen, we got Mostert and Gaskin as our running backs. We got Tyreek, Metcalf, McLaurin, and Judy, and then we got Kyle Pitts at tight end. So I think Pittman is the next guy worth drafting as far as wide receivers go.
I think you're right. Big T's going to be playing a lot of Pittman this year, I can imagine.
Yeah. Wentz. We could build a honorary Wentz stack later on if we grab Pittman here. And then the next round, I think, is where I'd start looking at getting Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley made some comments about like the vaccine.
He's an anti-vaxxer.
Exactly. Yeah, he came out as an anti-vaxxer. For us, that's good because his value.
For us, that's fantastic.
His ADP is dropping like a rock, So
I'll take him. Anti-vaxxer, I'm anti-vaxxer. I'll take him. Played with a broken leg last year in the playoffs.
Yep, dude's a stud.
Yes, he's definitely.
I do like Darnell Mooney. I've been taking a decent amount of him. Like I said, like Rager, he's another guy that I like. this late. I think we got to start looking at our QB2 too. We have Mostert. I don't mind pairing him with Trey Lance if Lance falls to it. I'm trying to grab a lot of Lance this year.
That's what I was saying with the Kittle at 3. That's because I don't think a lot of people are constructing that way. Like, not saying it's the best way to do it. It's just differentiated relative to how construction's kind of trending. Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, with Kittle, I'm just like I prefer to wait to the so I can get a guy like Pitts.
You get Pitts, 100%. No, I get that's obviously the more optimal route.
But I totally get drafting Kittle. Like I'm just like just the way that I've been going this season. Like with my drafts, I'm trying not to draft any unless it's Travis Kelce. Unless I'm drafting him from a decent value in the first round, then I'm generally waiting until Pitts before I start looking at tight end.
Secondary QB. What do we have for the QB list?
QBs, we got Aaron Rodgers, Trevor Lawrence. We don't have anyone stacked with Lawrence, otherwise I'd think of him. But Trey Lance, I think makes the most sense. Tua, we can get we're up. I'm gonna draft Cole Beasley now. I think. Well, actually, no. Fuck it. Let's grab Trey Lance. Sound good?
Yeah, I like that.
All right, let's get him. All right, so we got our second quarterback. Now we gotta, like I was saying, I want a guy like Beasley next because I want to make sure I'm stacking at least one receiver with Lawrence. And I'm not a huge fan of Gabe Davis. I think I'd take Emmanuel Sanders over him. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely prefer Emmanuel Sanders. Like, they had the opportunity to make Gabe Davis the guy by not signing Emmanuel Sanders, and then they signed Emmanuel Sanders. So
yeah. All right, so guys that I like here as far as wide receiver, when you're getting into the 10th round, Jalen Reagor is who I want to start putting an eye on, and Nelson Aguilar. Aguilar for your Patriots, obviously he's going to be the wide receiver 1 this year, or are you thinking Jacoby?
I think Myers will be the wide receiver 1. Kendrick Bourne's obviously, I always like Kendrick Bourne. He's a good player, good gadget player. I don't mind, but the Patriots passing attack, I think it's going to be mostly concentrated through the tight ends, and basically their offense in general will be played between the tight ends and the running back. So I guess if you think Aguilar is going to play the slot, I think Myers likely plays the slot though, mixed in with Gunner.
So if we end up with Aguilar,
is Aguilar said to be the slot guy? I'm not really sure who's playing on the outside.
I don't know.
The outside receiver.
I haven't heard too much. I think it's probably still up in the air because we don't know what that offense is going to look like with those two tight ends.
I think it's going to be if there's a guy who's going to be a usage monster in their passing game, I think it's going to be Henry for as long as he can stay
Henry.
healthy.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to grab Beasley here. Who was the last guy that we grabbed? Was it Trey Lance? And we grabbed him at 115, so we're pretty close to Beasley's ADP right now. So better to grab him now, just so we have another receiver. We can grab him 7 early. That's not ideal, but that sets us up so that we can grab Reagor or Aguilar on our next turn.
Yeah.
Latavius Murray, he's the next running back that I would hope falls to us. Okay, so we just lost Reagor. If Aguilar is off the board, then I would be looking at Murray.
What teams?
Oh, we got to get a tight end. The latest that I want to get a tight end is like is Troutman. What's your take on Jonnu and Hunter in general?
It's Hunter. I've been grabbing Hunter as much.
Hunter.
Yeah.
How do you think they're going to perform relative to ADP?
I think Hunter's going to outplay Jonnu. Like I said, I think the offense is going to run through their tight ends again. I think they want to get back to. Obviously, it's going to be difficult to kind of get back to what they had when they had Hernandez and Gronkowski, but that's kind of the football they want to play. So
yeah. So you think that like them getting drafted as late as they are is really
they're a great, like Hunter Henry's a better play than Jonnu Smith.
Gotcha.
Opinion. And they're both of value.
So we got two quarterbacks already. So if we go in a direction where we're taking where we get Aguilar and we end up with like Hunter Henry, let's say, then we can start looking at Mac Jones.
We want two pass catchers from this team that's going to predominantly run the ball though.
That's true.
And Henry, that's kind of like where my thought process would be, because I honestly don't think that they're gonna. I think they're gonna want to pound the rock. That's why I'm so high on Damian Harris. I just think.
Yeah. I love Damian Harris too. Yeah, I was hoping he would fall to us on that spot.
I reach for Harris.
Well, you know what? We got Pittman. Let's grab Campbell. And do our Big T tribute stack there.
All right, let's do that.
What do you think though? You think so? Let's pass on Aguilar, grab Campbell.
We definitely can't do Aguilar and Henry. So
okay.
Either
so
one or the other.
We'll go with Henry.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. Okay.
If you think what's Cam's passing yardage problem, like week in, week out, like he's not going to get there with Henry and Aguilar in the same week. Like the stat.
I don't think that Cam. I don't think that Cam is going to be in that QB spot very long. I think it's going to be Mac Jones.
Yeah, so that's if you think it's going to be Mac. I still think if it's going to be Mac, like they're going to run the ball a lot more than you think because he's a rookie, right? Like they're going to ease him in. I hope it's Mac.
Oh, you know what? We have Kyle Pitts as our tight end, so I was thinking we didn't have a tight end yet, but still, like Henry that late, like it's definitely.
What's their buys? Are there buys?
Henry is 14 and Pitts is 6, so we're good there.
We're good for tight ends. I feel like.
Running back, we should check out though here. Oh, Nyheim Hines is perfect for.
I like Madison.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I like Madison too.
If you take Madison and Dalvin, no injuries last year. It's not like
it's unusual for him.
It's unusual, right? And then you get a stud running back coming into an offense that all they do is run the football. Like that's like the build where like you don't want to hope for injuries, but God forbid anything happens to Dalvin, you have Mattinson step into a lead back role, getting 25 to 30 touches a game. Yeah,
and I think Darrington Evans is in the exact similar. We don't know how much he would be used if 139.
If Derrick Henry goes like so, those are two huge decision points for me in terms of best ball. Is obviously the running backs aren't strong up top, and it's McCaffrey and Dalvin. So like Chuba's a pick. You should be drafting Chuba in every best ball, which is McCaffrey's backup.
Yeah.
The running back for, like you said, Mattinson would be Dalvin Cook's going second in a lot of drafts, like taking his backup. And then obviously getting the backup for Derrick Henry, who you just hit on, Darrington Evans.
You know what? I'm gonna grab a Singletary here. I think. What do you think of that? Like I know Zach Moss is probably the favorite, but this kind of goes with our Buffalo stack, and he's like right the next one in ADP. I don't like any of these other running backs, and we need a running back here. I like Evans, but he's a 203 ADP, so we don't need to worry about him yet. Like, and all these other dudes are like way later in ADP.
Yeah, I like Gio, but he's later.
Let me grab Samuel Sanders.
And he doesn't fit our stack.
Yeah, missed him.
Have you been drafting any Gio Bernard?
Yeah, Bernard I have been drafting. The only reason, like, I was going against, like a guy like that right now. First he's like a what was his ADP, 170 something?
Yeah,
he's 170.
He's further.
Yeah, further down. We don't need to worry about him yet. But also, let's see, like Singletary fits better with our build right now.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. Just makes sense.
But Sanders is a guy that I want to, just so I can get another passing. Because if we're drafting Singletary, we're hoping that Josh Allen's going to be rushing in like less touchdowns and doing more, which means you'll be doing more passing.
Yeah,
hopefully, like and a guy like Sanders, just having two pass catchers with him.
Yeah, I like the Sanders goal.
And we can. Did somebody take Wentz already? Somebody took Wentz already.
It's probably Big T.
Yeah. Damn, that sucks. Like, I was hoping we'd have that little triple stack there. Let's see. Tua is still on the board, which is surprising to me. Sanders just went off. I'm tempted to go with. Well, now we don't need a third quarterback right now. We got Josh Allen, so I with having Josh Allen, I'd prefer to only have two quarterbacks. But Hunter Henry is coming up on ADP, so we might as well take him now.
Yeah, we could pull the trigger on Henry.
Yeah. So after this pick, we'll take a look. We got 7 wide receivers right now, so we're in pretty good shape there. We'll have our 2 tight ends and 2 quarterbacks after this pick. So then we want to start looking again at running back. All right, so Hunter Henry we can grab. As far as receivers that are left, is there anyone that stands out to you? Like I'm kind of like in Bryan Edwards. Tony, I don't mind just because like the Giants, didn't they trade up to get Tony?
They may have,
yeah.
I don't know if as of right now, I like Van Jefferson, but I feel like it might be too early.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know where are we in terms of ADP?
We just drafted Hunter Henry at 163. So we're now this is where I would look at Gio Bernard or James White.
I think Gio's a really good
play. Yeah. Let's grab Gio in this next one if we can. 4 picks away right now.
Gio assumes that James White role, he's undervalued. And that's scary. It is sure. Half-point PPR relative to DK, where DK is full. So that's also something to keep in mind.
Other guys I like, Ty Johnson. I've been drafting some of him because of the ambiguous running back situation with the Jets. The buzz is all with Michael Carter right now. Like the football guys are, like coaching types are all, they think Tevin Campbell might start the season as a starter, but like, I just don't see it with Campbell. And Ty Johnson had a few impressive games last season. I think he's been getting a little bit of buzz in OTAs too. So Ty Johnson could end up being a really good value where he's going.
Yeah, I can see that. They're going to use their running backs, right? Like that coach comes out of San Fran, and that's pretty much zone blocking. And what's his name again? He's
McFleur and what's his face? The defensive coordinator,
like Jason Taylor. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Robert Salah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we got 4 running backs right now. If we had 2 stronger lead running backs, then I would say good. Let's just stick with the 4 that we got. But I think we probably need another one in this particular build. But as far as wide receivers go, my next favorite is Josh Palmer. I think he's going to end up being a starter with the Chargers and getting a piece of that offense there.
Interesting. I don't even know. I had no idea who Josh Palmer was. So.
Yeah, he's looking like, because who's he got to beat out? Like Guyton? Guyton, I think he had the something like the most air yards.
Guyton had the most air yards. And then
and
always that other kid that was beating him every week.
Right.
I who the other kid was.
And Guyton couldn't do anything with the air yards. So it's like, Guyton
had that one game versus Jacksonville where he had 2 touchdowns. Herbert went off for 50. That total went through the roof.
Yeah. What round are we in? We're in 15, so we're coming up on 16. So we got 16, 7. We got 3 more picks. We're pretty good at tight end with Kyle Pitts. I don't want to have 3 tight ends necessarily.
Yeah.
With Josh Allen, I don't want to have 3 quarterbacks necessarily. So I think we could probably go 2 wide receivers and 1 more running back. And like I was saying, I like Palmer. I like Tony a little bit, just because I have a feeling they're going to force him a lot. So, Deshawn Jackson. What do you think of Deshawn Jackson?
I love the Rams passing attack. That's the thing, though. Deshaun, or do you like Deshaun, or do you like Van Jefferson?
Gotcha.
Van had the playoff game last year. He's stepping in. How much does Deshaun have?
They just took Van Jefferson, so I guess that makes it.
Just take Deshaun then.
Okay.
Just take Deshaun. They made the choice for us. I feel like they're going to be competing for that spot too. That position.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised. I guess people are just sick of Jackson getting hurt week 1 every year. They're letting him slip to this late in the draft now. We did take him way early, but given what's on the board.
Deshaun Jackson's old now. He's getting up there, right? You'd have to imagine.
He is, but he's still he's still got his speed though. Yeah.
The Bitcoin Sherpa. Who's he taking? What else can we do? What else? I like Byron Pringle. He's not draftable.
Did someone just draft him?
No. I like him. I think he's all the way down that list.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Marquez Callaway, he's another dude that I've been drafting some of, getting some exposure to.
Byron Pringle.
There he is. Let's see. So what's your pitch on Pringle? You just think he's going to?
You remove Watkins, and he's better than he's just better than Watkins. Not like I just think Watkins is dusty every time he kind of stepped in.
Watkins is on the Ravens now. He ended up he got traded. So
that's what I was saying. Is like
gotcha. Yeah.
Basically, there's Demarcus Robinson, but I don't know, Pringle's
what Robinson never seems to.
One of him or Pringle is going to be behind Mecole, so like everyone kind of steps up, right?
And if Mecole like disappoints like he had last year, then one of those dudes could easily. I would say I would lean Pringle in that too, just because we see Demarcus Robinson get his opportunities before, and he didn't really do too much with it. It just seems like the Chiefs' offense is so concentrated.
Yeah, but being able just to get some type of sliver from that offense this late, that's like why you just take it. I don't know if many people even are talking. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've liked him. He ended up being. I remember on a Showdown slate, like he was the guy you needed, and people were going nuts over because people were like, "Who's Pringle?" But he's like 1K, and you had to play him, or else you were totally dust. Because I think Robinson and Watkins were up.
Yeah. All right, so I'm just gonna grab Evans here as our last pick. I think, like, just because like we were talking about before, we want one of those dudes who, if one of these studs goes down, and I think if anyone's gonna like potentially miss games this year, it would be Henry. Like the dude's, how many touches has he had like each of the last few years? It's just like
in his overall football career, how many touches has this guy had?
Yeah,
like, going back to like Pop Warner, he's definitely been the biggest guy. He's definitely in the rock all the time. Like when are the tires going to come off? And it's interesting that you say that just because of the leverage that up top running back's kind of weak for best ball this season. So that's where you can kind of try to get that leverage.
And the thing, like with Henry too, is like just I don't think he's ever I don't know if he's ever missed like any games. Like has he missed any games in since he's been a starter?
I don't know. I'm not really sure on that one. It hasn't been in the last 2 years, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
much.
Not that I can think of.
Is Darrington Evans someone that pops for you, like when you watch like YouTube clips or?
He's more like, for me, it's more because
I like Chuba Hubbard too.
Yeah.
Chuba Hubbard's Carolina's backup. He's McCaffrey's backup. I feel like he's a best ball staple. You kind of want to get it. He's draftable in best ball, right? Because
with me, it's more because of my overall, how I've been drafting overall this year. Like because I've been fading Henry and drafting more Evans. So that's basically the narrative that I'm building my pool of teams towards. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm trying to.
You want to stay within your exposure.
Yeah. I'm trying to stay consistent. Like I don't want to have, like spread out between too many guys. Like, and I haven't drafted any Hubbard yet. So if I drafted him, like that would be like I'd have like 2% Hubbard or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, I like if that's a dude that you're taking stands on, then like I totally get that.
Yeah, Mattinson would be the one for me. Like Mattinson stepped into a lead back role the second Dalvin Cook's knee goes out, right? So yeah, for sure. Any time that I've been seeing like Madison too, I've been trying to scoop him up if I can get him at a good value. He becomes like he's the guy that like at the end of the year, everyone's made, like if that was to ever be a situation, everyone's cash game lineups are going to be decided on like like getting in Madison. You know what I mean? Like, just I don't know.
Yeah.
He becomes such a high floor. It's like a lot of variance, but then he becomes like the highest of high floor plays. I feel like that's the main part of your best ball. That's like what you're going for in best ball. Which I'm not saying you're going for injuries, but you just leverage them that way.
Yeah, same here. Like, I think you have to kind of. Well, I guess we're done with that. I can't figure out how to go to look at what I just did. Yeah, it's really weird on desktop. I'm not a fan of the desktop. Let's see. Let me see if we can figure out a way that we can look at what we just did.
NBA best balls. Oh my god, can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Late season NBA best balls. So they have that. That would be absolutely atrocious.
Best ball. Yeah, I'm not sure how we would even go back and look at what we just did, but we
results.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at, and it just has like my results from previous. Yeah.
What about drafts? I just bring you back.
Drafts. Completed. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, let's talk through the team.
Let's see. All right, so we got Allen and Lance at our quarterback positions. I like those. Obviously, we're strong there. Gaskin, Mostert, Singletary, Gio, and Evans. Like, I'd say, like, running back is pretty weak. But hopefully, something will break that way. Maybe Gaskin ends up having one of those seasons that gives him maybe a second round ADP value. And Mostert, we've seen Mostert, he can have those huge games if he's able to stay healthy this season. Like, even when Mostert's playing with sharing the workload with another running back, that dude has huge games. So a lot of potential with Mostert for sure. Singletary, we're basically hoping that he shines over Zach Moss this year, but I've been leaning way more Moss than Singletary with other drafts, but grabbing a
he fits
running
the
back
stack, right? Like,
he fits what we were doing in this particular draft. Gio, I'm happy with Gio. I think he's going to have a decent year. If he's on Tampa, that Tom Brady, had a lot of influence in getting him over there.
That was what they lacked, right? Like, I feel like with Fournette and Ronald Jones, they didn't really have that pass catching threat that Brady has utilized so well in the past. So.
Right. For Fournette, him historically being like a good pass catcher. What do you think? You think something went wrong with him last year? What do you think happened with him?
Well, he was never utilized in the passing game in Jacksonville, but he could catch passes. It's just like he doesn't. Not to get too deep into it, but neither him or Ronald Jones really catch the ball with their hands or fluid pass catchers out of the backfield. So a guy like Gio kind of brings that dynamic. And I think they were thinking they might get that with McCoy, and I don't think it really worked out. And that's why McCoy found himself pretty much just not dressing at the end of the season. But I think with Gio, that'll be different. Gio's going to basically be their third down back by the end of the year.
Yeah. That's a good point with McCoy too, because it was kind of weird that they brought him in last season. It didn't make a ton of sense, but from what you're giving for that insight, that makes a lot more sense of why they try to bring him in and why they would bring in a guy like Gio, because obviously the team feels like they're missing something in that offense, and that would make a lot of sense.
And that's dangerous, giving Brady that weapon out of the backfield. Like
especially
James White and Kevin Falk from Shane Brewer, go down the list.
So then we got Evans. We just talked about him. That's more of a kind of a insurance on if Henry ends up having some missing some games this year. We're just basically hoping that Evans would be the guy that they go to, and he seems to be set up for that role. I don't know. I don't think that he would necessarily have the same role that Henry has, because obviously Henry is unique, in that he's one of those running backs that just like runs through walls, and it's rare to have kind of one of those dudes who's like just a bowling ball, and he never, and he's got speed, so it's kind of hard to replace him. But if Evans is next on that depth chart, and we know how much the Titans like to run, then he could be set up for a decent situation.
That was the situation with Chuba and Darrington. Not that like McCaffrey gets hurt, but like we've seen previously, Mike Davis last year when McCaffrey did go down, seen like relatively similar workload to McCaffrey. That was why I would probably have leaned Chuba, but Evans obviously, like, you want to make your player pool work too. Like, obviously you want to get your Evans, but I get that too. So.
Cool. Yeah, so wide receivers, we did well there. Tyreek, DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, Jerry Judy. If Rodgers ends up in Denver, or even if Watson ends up in Denver, we could be in a really good situation. And just at his ADP, grabbing him at the 78 pick. Judy, he dropped a ton of balls last year, so he had a lot of bad luck last year. But I think in general, he's just he has the potential to have a huge second season breakout as a wide receiver.
If Rodgers ever ends up on this team, Judy's going to be such a hard cover for D-backs everywhere.
Yep.
The way he runs routes, man. Pittman, I like Pittman. We got the Big T. He's going to be rostering a lot of Michael Pittman this year, which isn't a bad. Michael Pittman's a baller, I think. So I don't think that's a bad thing. Cole Beasley for the stack, like with Josh Allen, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Little Paris Campbell, I don't mind Paris Campbell.
Yeah.
Deshawn, if he's bringing it back, if he's got the speed, the burst, which we think he does, like I think he fits well. I'm really bullish on the Rams passing attack, where I see a lot of people gravitating to Akers, and I'd just rather take the passing game or Darrell Henderson. Just like leverage the steam there. Pringle, I like Pringle. I like saying the name, but I like Pringles, but especially if I'm smoking a little of this. But no, I'm joking. It's just tobacco. But Pringle. If he's part of that Kansas City offense, taking Watkins out of the picture, DeMarcus. I don't think anyone's really drafted Pringle. We just kind of took a flyer. I like the wideouts.
Yeah, and tight ends, we're strong at tight end too with Pitts and Henry. So like three out of 4 positions being solid at, and then we're just hoping for some upside to break our way with the running backs. So like overall, not a bad team. I would have liked to see some more guys fall to us. Like I would have loved if T. Higgins fell to us at that point in the draft, or who was the guy we were about to? Devin Singletary, man. Like that was kind of a brain fart on my part, because we had Emmanuel Sanders sitting right there, and I was just kind of flustered over Singletary. I could have just grabbed Emmanuel Sanders there. I would have felt a lot better with Emmanuel Sanders in the lineup as opposed to Devin Singletary, because then we would have still had Gio, still took Gio when we did, and then Evans, and then maybe we could have grabbed a guy like Hubbard or something like that instead. So that was probably the mistake of the biggest mistake of the draft, I'd say.
Yeah, it's good to like you already have a ton of Moss, so you're still getting some Singletary shares and we're
Yeah.
still stacking them, so
Yeah, for sure.
it's not the worst situation.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so that's it. Like you want
Let's
to
wrap
close
up
this
best
out?
ball. Yeah, I can close. Yeah, guys, if RPS Heater 25 is the promo code for Run Pure Sports. If you haven't got with the team yet, join it. Hear it all the time. You'll see the screenshots. We're absolutely on, well, Big T's on the heater of a lifetime. But everyone else has been doing well. Community's been doing great. And hope you tune in for some more best ball content next week.